So, drum roll. Ba-dang. The Champions League final is here. And 2022-2023 Champions League final between Manchester City and International Milan. I don't have the colors of International Milan in my house, so I can't rep International Milan. But the truth of the matter is, I'm actually a Milan fan by extension because my father lived in Italy for a large part of his life and it was in Milan. And he always told me stories about International, so I love Milan. And I remember when 2008 about and Mourinho went there, I was a fan of Milan. So yeah, I love International Milan. But of course, I'm sorry, I'm representing Manchester City. Boom. Thank you very much. Welcome to the Counter Press. My name is Fiifi-Manfred. Thank you for choosing us. This is the preview of the Champions League final. Let's get into it. So there are a couple of things I'll tell you about. Tactical preview, I should say. So first of all, this is a dream for Manchester City. They have always wanted to go to the Champions League final, and here they are. For Pep Guardiola, it is going to possibly be his third final since his days at Barcelona, and possibly this is going to be the second time he will win the Champions League after he did it the first time. The second time with a different club, second club. After Barcelona, the Manchester City, so he would want to win it this time with them. He failed at Bayern Munich in this regard, so he wants to win it. And that's exactly what he wants to do. And that's why we need to preview this game. It's very important. For International Milan, Simone Inzaghi is a wonderful, wonderful manager. His record in cup finals is superb. He has lost just one. But mind you, if you love repetitions and what have you, mind you that all of the cups that he has won has been domestic cups, none of them European. So you'd want to be very careful in that regard. He is a top manager. He left Lazio, came to International, filling the big boots of Antonio Conte, won the Supercoppa Italia, Champions League final, Coppa Italia in a space of 2 years. Big job for International Milan. So it is also proactive, progressive, free-flowing, attacking football versus Italian Catenaccio, and that's where the taxes will unfold. Pep Guardiola is a lover of the positional play, 4-3-3. But then, whilst a lot of teams are beginning to learn from Pep and playing from the back and having a lot of the ball, Pep now has Erling Haaland, who helps him become much more vertical and plays onto his feet and his sticks, hold up play very well, and have two number 10s around him, picks up the pieces and then play forward. Also, whilst all of this is done, he still sticks to his positional play. He sticks to two wingers. This time, most of the times has been Bernardo Silva and Jack Grealish. Whilst he does this, he also is able to now have a new tactical dimension, one of which has not been seen in recent times in about the last decade. Pep has brought it back again, and it's the fact that John Stones starts at centre back and then plays in the middle of the park, holds up play there, plays progressive passes, controls everything. And I think that it is the recovery ability of John Stones that makes him solid in that hybrid role. And that's exactly where Pep Guardiola is. For the side of International Milan, it is an embodiment of Italian football. Solid defensively, compact at the back, leadership, great aggression and combativeness for everything that you need for a Champions League final. So it makes it much more exciting. And that's exactly how it is honed. Three at the back. It was Skriniar, it was Bastoni, it was De Vrij. Skriniar has been out because of some injuries. Same for De Vrij, who has also been out. Now it is Bastoni, Mathieu Damian, who was at Manchester United and had fallen short of what really they wanted. And of course now it's the new fan favorite of International Milan in Federico Acerbi. Acerbi was at Lazio. He was one of the main soldiers for Simone Inzaghi whilst he was there. When he was bringing into International Milan, people had questions as to if really he can play the football at International Milan. He didn't get his debut for Italian national team until when he came there, and it's a big one for Acerbi in the middle of the park. But just before we go there have been two wing backs who have been very good, and my favorite, Federico Di Marco, he morrows that outline. He's an outlet when Inter Milan soak into a deep block and want to play out on the back. Then on the other side has been Denzel Dumfries, the one who shuffles into a wing back and then a full back anytime Inter want to change from a 3-back to a 4-4-2 without the ball, or a 4-5-1 compact in the middle of the park. Dumfries is the man. Then the three solid midfielders, I call them the 3+1, and I'll tell you why. It is 3+1 because you can either play them with a much more defensive orientation, or you play them with a much more offensive orientation. With a defensive orientation, it means that Marcelo Brozovic is going to be in there. With a much more attacking orientation, the leader of Henrik Mkhitaryan or Akan Klanoglu is going to be on the middle of the park. But the mainstay, the big man, the one that controls everything in the middle of the park for International Milan, has been my man, Nicolo Barella. Top player, does everything for them, dictate the pace of the game. He is a wonderful player in those deep areas. He low center of gravity, hence it's difficult for him to rob him of the ball. He's able to carry the ball forward, almost press resistant, dictates the pace of the game. He is also able to get to the left and right half spaces at the opposition end to add goals and assists to what he plays. So that tells you exactly who Nicolo Barella is. There is either Henrik Mkhitaryan or Hakan Klanoglu by his side. But if they want to play a solid midfield too, that's going to be difficult to break down. The Marcelo Brozovic is the man who acts in that midfield three. Then up top, spot for choice. But the first of all, consistent of all of them has been my man Lautaro Martinez. The World Cup winner has been integral. He is able to sniff everything, every ball, every danger in the opposition half, and then gets to the end of it and gets goals for International Milan. Also has been Edin Dzeko, a wonderful playmaking center forward who has a very good hold-up play, does very well. Then anytime they want to affect the pace of the game, they bring on Romelu Lukaku, who has found form, who's enjoying football as it stands now again at International Milan. So already I've run you through the possible lineups of the game, but now let's go into the nitty-gritties of the game, how the game is going to be decided. First of all, if you are looking for any betting tip, is the fact that do not bet overs. It's better for you to bet for unders. So maybe under 1.5, maybe under 2.5, but especially under 1.5 is going to give you good money in 90 minutes for this International Milan team. But let's start on the tactical displays. I think that first of all, if Nathan Ake gets back into that International Milan, that Manchester City team, it means that in their rest defense, Inter Milan wants to win the ball when they sit in a deep block, carry the ball forward, quick in transitions, and then you have Lautaro Martinez, Romelu Lukaku, or Edin Dzeko marauding those runs when Federico Di Marco makes very good overlapping runs. Now, for Manchester City, Pep has made a different switch to how he plays now. There is always 3 men in that rest defense anytime you're playing against him. So it means that even if Inter Milan are going to have a lot of turnovers, when they do, there are 3 men in there. Also, Pep has tried to be so secure on the ball with John Stones, with Gundogan, with Bernardo Silva, and Kevin De Bruyne. Now, what this means is that there's a midfield box of 4 where every time there's so much security and there's a possibility that they are not going to lose the ball from turnovers from those central areas. If there are going to be turnovers, it's going to be deep into International Milan's half, and that is where Inter would have to work well in carrying the ball from those areas, looking for the runs of Federico Di Marco, looking for Dumfries, and also making sure that they hinge on the hold-up play of Nicolo Barella to push the ball forward for them. These are some of the integral parts of the game. Another part of Pep's play is that whilst he used to play very, very short, he plays short passes, quick among themselves. Now he has realized that sometimes he needs to be much more vertical. He needs to mix it up. And in mixing it up, he has a wonderful physical profile, wonderful physical machine in Erling Braut Haaland. The Norwegian is able to drop deep as some form of a false 9, hold up the ball from long balls, and we know the delivery of Ederson. Then the 2 number 10s, Ike Gundogan and of course Kevin De Bruyne, are able to pick the pieces around him. Once they do, he pulls away some defenders, pulls away some attackers, whilst there's a late run for Gundogan or Kevin De Bruyne to fire the shots. This is the Manchester City side, much more dynamic, much more specific in how they want to play. But for International Milan, you remember that compactness in the middle of the park against AC Milan, very compact, prevented them from playing through them centrally. What I'm expecting is that Inter will be very, very compact, very, very central central blockade, and force Manchester City to go out wide. Now, when they go out wide, there's going to be Bernardo Silva who will be hugging the touchline, and they will hope to isolate him 1v1 with Denzel Dumfries, which is going to be very difficult because there's always going to be Matteo Darmian who comes together to make it a 2v1. So the overloads are going to matter. Who will win the dribbling abilities from wide areas? When they do, the cutbacks will come into it. And especially, most importantly, how are both sets of defenders going to be able to defend their boxes? These are the questions. Actually, Matteo Darmian and of course, what's his name? Bastoni will be very integral in defending their box. And of course, their goalkeeper, Andre Onana. On the other side as well, for the first time in a long time, I saw Mancity has defenders who are technically good and also comfortable defending with their bodies on the line. So that's exactly how it is. The rest defense of Manchester City, the turnovers for International Milan, the central blockage versus the central control of Manchester City and the International Milan. Then the wide play, the overloads versus the aggression of the International Milan wing backs. How is the shift from a back four to a back three and then going to the transitions? How quick can International Milan transitions be? These are the questions. These are tactically how the game is going to. It is going to be tactically very minute, breaking it down for you here. That's exactly how you enjoy the game in excess. So once you're watching the game on Saturday on the 10th of June, right after my birthday, just know that this is the time and this is exactly how the game is going to pan out, and I broke it down for you here on the counter press. I'm excited to make it like this for you. My name again is Fiifi-Manfred, but just before I go, this is my prediction. As an Inter fan, I wish they win, but trust me, tactically on paper, Mancity are so good, so good. I don't know how they are not going to take the treble. And it's a good one for football, but a sad one for the Manchester United fans. But I think that treble for Pep Guardiola and his Chargers is on the horizon. Thank you. My name is Fiifi-Manfred. This is a counter press. I'm grateful that you have me. Please do like and subscribe. See you. Bye.